All right, welcome today to a program we've put together called How to Increase Homework Completion Rates in the Young Scholar Program. Before we begin, I'd like you to think back on what were some of the factors that helped you become a successful student in your past. Were you self-motivated? Did you just want to do well because you wanted to do well? Were you afraid of your parents? They set an example for you and made sure that you were doing the necessary homework and getting good grades. Was there a particular mentor or teacher that had an impact in your life? Did somebody take you aside and encourage you to follow a certain path, or make a difference in your life that changed the course in the direction of your academic progress? Or were you just competitive? It was important to you to get a good grade point average. You wanted to be on the honor roll. Making National Honor Society was a big deal to you. And those are some of the factors I'd like you to think about while we're talking today about ways we can increase homework completion rates in the Young Scholar Program at the Sugar Falls Community Center. My name is Dan Thompson. I've been with you guys basically since January as a voluntary staff consultant, and have worked closely with the middle school grades in the Young Scholar Program at Sugar Falls Park Community Center. The purpose of the project was to find ways to increase homework completion rates for middle school students enrolled in the program. So everything we do is going to be designed to find ways to meet this goal. I'm sitting here with most of you are from Sugar Falls Park Community Center. As you know, it's located in the Kenston district. It opened in 1949. We have a modern building. But the important thing is to understand the mission of the Sugar Falls Park Community Center, and that's to empower individuals and families to reach their full potential. The Young Scholar Program started in 2002 as just an elementary program. Extended to 5 days a week in 2005. We had a very strong leader in 2005. And in 2008, it really started to turn the corner with the arrival of a retired Kenston teacher, opened up the communication between Kenston and the Young Scholar Program. And finally, in 2009, because of the success of the elementary program, the middle school program began. Some of the background of the problem that we need to understand that we're talking about here is 89% of the students in the program are on free or reduced lunch, and 22% of the students are on individual education plans. The individual education plans include specific academic performance patterns that students need to follow. It could be behavioral plans, or it could be both. Some of the evidence of the problem is, we're able to track through their grade cards how their grades are and how they're doing. It's also supported by teacher comments and concerns, whether that's on the grade card, through progress reports, through individual meetings with teachers, or emails from teachers to staff. And it's also witnessed through weekly student assist modules. We're able to access their grades online through the SAM program with Kenston, and the teachers update their grades on a daily, weekly basis, so we can go right in there and see that if they said they were doing their homework, we can look and see if they really did or not. The importance of the project, it seems so obvious, but failure to complete homework is going to result in poor academic performance. It increases the likelihood of dropping out during high school. It increases the risk of incarceration, and it impacts overall future income earnings. So to summarize, students in the Young Scholar Program, a majority of them come from a low-income background. Students are not currently meeting academic expectations. And we're really trying to change, make a cultural shift from it being an after-school program where we come, it's a great place to come, it's a great place to be involved, to an academic program where students want to come here and they're interested in succeeding academically, and we're really seen as a program that is helping them further their education. So that was the background of the problem. We looked at some literature, we looked at some other studies to see what some other experts have had to say. And there were three things that we basically looked at. And the first one we looked at was the role of poverty on academic success, family responsibility, and developing a network of support. When we're talking about the role of poverty on academic success, what research has found is that the middle grade level, students are launched on a path towards graduation or they get knocked off. And they're very critical years in determining their success. And one of the other things that we see is the transition from the elementary and intermediate schools to the middle schools starts to widen. The achievement gaps start to widen. So what was once a small problem when you had one teacher in one classroom, that becomes a huge valley and a huge obstacle when they're met with different teachers with different expectations running from class to class during the school day. Again, 89% of the students are on free and reduced lunch that are in the program, and that's a large proportion in a small area. But what we need to remember is that only makes up 12% of the student population at Kenston Middle School. So there really is a separation between the students from the Chagrin Falls Park area and their peers. We also need to understand that low-income students will view school very differently from those students that they're with every day. You know, they view it as something to be endured. Negative behaviors get attention, and really they're doing just enough to get by. There's really no, they don't see a future. Everything's in the now, what affects me now, what is the most important thing that makes me happy now. Agitation is one of the key phrases that we hear from a lot of students, but you know, a lot of times that's their view, is doing just enough to get by, and that's acceptable. And why this matters with the Young Scholar Program, why is it important to understand the poverty background and the low-income background that our students come from, is because most students come from the middle to upper class economic background. And there has to be an understanding that there is a difference in viewpoint. For most people from the middle class background, the solutions seem very easy. You know, work harder, make good decisions, set goals, use your time effectively. But what we're saying does not translate to our students. So it's very important that anybody that's working with our students understand the role of the low-income background comes with each student. So it's a foundational issue when we're addressing academic achievement, and it really requires increased training for staff and tutors so that we can find effective ways to reach each student regardless of their income background. The second thing we want to look at is the family's role in academic success. These are two pretty good quotes. Poor parents have less schooling on average than do non-poor parents, and schooling may affect parents' ability to encourage and help their children get an education. A lot of studies have shown that a student's ability to succeed academically is really tied to the dominant female in the family's education level. If their educational level was good, they graduated high school, they had positive experience in school, it's more likely that their own children or their own students that are living with them will also have that same value. When we're talking about parents that haven't had the schooling, there's less of an impact because it wasn't important to them, so why would we expect it to be important now? And also, studies showed that parent involvement, it starts out great, elementary level, everybody's kind of involved, it's going great, but when we hit the middle school, again, with those changing expectations, additional teachers, the support wanes. The parents are a lot less involved as they enter the middle school. We also want to look at, there's a positive link between academic monitoring and student achievement. And when we're talking about academic monitoring, it's simple. Do you know who your teachers are? Do you know if they're misbehaving in school? You know, are they getting good grades? When's the next test? And the more academic monitoring occurs more when there's more adults in the house. So we're talking about, you know, two-parent households, multi-generational households. It's important to have adults in the house that understand what the expectations are. Some of the problems we face from a young scholar point of view and the parents is that, you know, teachers provide all kinds of information. There's the contact information, there's the assignment information, there's downloads on homework assignments, and the parents in the program generally are not taking advantage of that. There's the student assist module available. Again, the grades are posted. Parents can find out what the grades are, but that's also dependent upon whether or not they pay their school fees to get access to that. And then we have there's open houses and teacher conferences that are lightly attended, and we've seen the correlation when we try to have programs at the center that, you know, it's just not a priority for parents to always be involved. How parents can improve: they can set higher expectations for their students. Again, academic monitoring, and just attend an open house, attend a young scholar event, go to the art show. You know, it's just the basics of being involved in your student's life.